Hi guys, so I'm back here with what I picked up on day 2 of my trips to the local Friends of the Library sale. There's an advertisement here for the next one coming up in spring. So the last video was on a Monday, and then the pickups I'm going to show today were from Tuesday. On Tuesday everything goes down to half price, so you got kind of twice as much buying power. So I picked up quite a few more things, especially CDs, on this day. So I'll try to go through them a little quicker, just so the video doesn't get too long. But there were a lot of things I saw the first day that I wanted, but I kind of set back. Some more obscure things, kind of hoping people wouldn't see them and pick them up. And luckily, a lot of the stuff that I had left behind, I managed to pick up on the half price day. So let's jump right into it. First up, I'll show you the vinyl. This one kind of interesting. Musician I really enjoy, but I've never really, I don't think I've seen this one before. This is Spotlight on Pharoah Sanders with the Latin Jazz Quintet on the Up Front label. Up Front, kind of a, seems like kind of a shady reissue label, I'm not sure. I don't really know anything about the Latin Jazz Quintet. I gave it a quick listen, and definitely not the best recording quality. Mastering sounds a little off. It sounds like in some of the tracks the speed is a little too fast. His playing, I don't know, something doesn't sound quite right. It sounds like he's playing a clarinet or something. It's just, I don't know. Interesting recording regardless. If anything, it's a nice album to stick up on the wall. Nice picture of Pharoah Sanders. Next up, great guitarist here, jazz and sort of classical Spanish guitarist Lorendo Almeida with Bud Shank Brazilians on the Pacific Jazz, or actually World Pacific Records. Let's see, the Pharoah Sanders is originally $5, got it for $2.50. This one again $5, got it for $2.50. And I see a price sticker here. Price $7.99. I think this was from Sharp's, Ted Sharp's music store, Sharp's Music Exchange here in town. I think that's where that label is from, that price sticker. Closed a long time ago. Yeah, so some interesting kind of West Coast jazz. This one I picked up, I thought maybe I had a copy of this, I wasn't sure. When I got home I've got another copy, the same pressing, and then a repressing. But a great record regardless. Moonlight in Vermont. Johnny Smith, the guitarist, featuring Stan Getz. This one on the Roost label. Roost Records. And it's the Roost label, but the labels all say Royal Roost. Kind of interesting. This one's pretty decent shape. Let's see, next up, kind of an obscure label I don't really know. Amco. I don't know much about the label, but I used to visit a website, and any jazz fans out here might recognize the cover of this immediately. If you do, no more needs to be said, but this is 4 Lessons in Jazz. So it looks like we got a little Art Blakey, Charlie Mingus, Australian Jazz Quintet, and Johnny Richards. I don't know who that is. Kind of an interesting label. Amco Records, a division of Allison Enterprises out of New York City. A fun photo there. Next up, an Arthur Lyman record I didn't have. Some Exotica here. Buena A, something like that, on the Hi-Fi record label. I just pick these up when I see them. These are really cool. I like the label design on this label. If I can get the record out. Oh, it's a tight one. Yeah, I like the design on that. Nice recordings on these. And then finally a 7-inch here on Fantasy, the Vince Guaraldi Trio with Samba de Orpheus and Cast Your Fate to the Wind on the B-side. It's a big hit there. This one has a little blue sticker on it, so that would have been 75 cents originally. Paid half of that. The Arthur Lyman, same thing, 75 cents. Alright, so let's get into the CDs. Went big on the CDs this day since everything was half off and bought quite a bit. I'll try to go through them fairly quickly. First up, a label I don't see too often, so I always try to grab it when I see it on a CD or record or whatever. This is the Soul Note label. Yeah, George Adams and Danny Richmond featuring Jimmy Knepper, Hugh Lawson, and Mike Richmond. Gentleman's Agreement. So green label, 50 cents. Half price was a quarter. Next up, Billy Bang Quintet, Rainbow Gladiator. Again on Soul Note, originally $1, got it for 50 cents. This one interesting, on the Milestone label, 2 albums reissued on 1 CD, Gary Bartz, Libra, and Another Earth. Some really cool sort of spacey stuff. Farrah Sanders features on 1 track on here. I didn't have any Gary Bartz in the collection, so this is kind of cool. Originally looks like $3. George Benson, so we're getting into the A&M recordings here. Creed Taylor's recordings for A&M right before he started his own CTI label, I think originally in conjunction with A&M. I Got a Woman and Some Blues. Nice little Verve Digipack reissue here. The weird funky A&M design on the CD. Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, A Night in Tunisia. I think I picked the same thing up on the first day of the sale with a slightly different cover. I could be wrong. This one, an older, looks like a Ron McMaster digital transfer. Yep. It's one of the earlier Blue Note CD issues of this, not the Van Gelder remaster. Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, 3 Blind Mice. And again, most of the Blue Notes here, $4, and on this day, half price, $2. Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Like Someone in Love. And kind of weird, you can notice sort of a blue tint to the cover on this. It was from something, the Blue Note collection. This is a Spanish reissue of this. I think it was a deal like you bought a magazine, you got a CD with it. And so all these Blue Note CDs that came out with the magazine there in Spain, they all have kind of a blue tint to the covers. Kind of interesting. I've never seen that before. Some Verve here. Willy Bobo, Bobo Motion. Originally $1, now 50 cents. Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue. Classic Blue Note here. Kenny Burrell, God Bless the Child, his one and only album for CTI. Classic jazz guitar. I've actually got 2 copies of this on vinyl in pretty good shape, but I couldn't pass it up on CD. Donald Byrd, A New Perspective, with voices, band and voices. Kind of a concept album, I guess. This was interesting. I don't really know. I've seen this cover before. I don't really know the artist. Terry Callier, What Color is Love? Originally on Cadet, it looks like, reissued by Verve. Getting into the miles here, I may already own this. I think I do on CD, but for $2 I couldn't pass it up. Miles in the Sky. And another one of the classic quintet ones, ESP. I know I've got this one on CD. I'll try trade those away or give them away or something. One CD from a 4 CD set from the Mosaic label. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the other CDs for the set. Maybe someone already picked them up, but for half off of 50 cents, or for a quarter, I picked this up. The complete recordings of the Paul Desmond Quartet with Jim Hall. This is disc 1 here. A nice Mosaic label. Some more Blue Note here. Lou Donaldson, Lush Life. This one was priced at $2 originally. Still got it for $1. I just thought that was a very modern looking cover art on that one. Not quite in keeping with the other classic Blue Note things from the era. This one originally on the Prestige label. It's an original jazz classic CD reissue. I've got this on vinyl, I'm sure. Charles Earland, Black Talk. So Charles Earland on organ. Good stuff. Originally on United Artists, reissued by Blue Note as part of their Connoisseur CD series. Art Farmer, Brass Shout, the Aztec Suite. With Benny Golson and Chico O'Farrell, among other musicians. Another Connoisseur CD reissue here from Blue Note. Frank Foster, Manhattan Fever. Dexter Gordon, Doing All Right. Dexter Gordon, Go. Classic Blue Note cover there. Dexter Gordon, Clubhouse. This looks like it's probably something that came from the vaults here. I don't recognize the cover art on this one. Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, Ben Tucker, Bob Cranshaw on bass, Billy Higgins drums, Barry Harris piano. Don't recognize this one. From the CTI label, a really funky looking cover here. Grant Green with Hubert Laws, The Main Attraction. Love Grant Green, great guitar player. Another one on Steeplechase, the Bill Hardman Sextet, What's Up? Again on Steeplechase, Billy Harper Quintet, live on tour in the Far East. So this would have been Volume 1. I showed Volume 2 and 3. I picked up on the first day. I hadn't seen this one, so I was glad to get this on my second day at the sale for half price, so half of 50 cents, and got it for a quarter. And finally another one on Steeplechase, Billy Harper Quintet, Destiny Is Yours. Originally $1. Alright, like I said, a ton of CDs. I'm only halfway through here. Yeah, let me get the more interesting non-jazz stuff out of the way here. So, the All-Star Sessions. This is a milestone reissue, European reissue by ZYX. Looks like a German label. Part of the original Jazz Classics reissue series, I believe. Elmo Hope, John Coltrane, Donald Byrd, Jimmy Heath, Philly Joe Jones. The All-Star Sessions. Looks like recordings from 1956 and 1961. Originally issued on 2 records, one on Prestige, one on Riverside. Interesting historical stuff there. More Blue Note. Joe Henderson, Inner Urge. Some Impulse. Didn't see a whole lot of Impulse. This might have been the only Impulse CD I picked up. They may have gone the first day or two. A lot of young people probably know the Impulse label because of John Coltrane. But this is The Artistry of Freddie Hubbard. And Pulse being a collectible label, they priced it $4 like the Blue Note. So I got it for $2. United Artists, reissued by Blue Note here. Milt Jackson with Bags' Opus. Milt Jackson, also known as Bags, with Benny Golson, Art Farmer, Tommy Flanagan, Paul Chambers, and Connie Kay on drums. Stan Kenton, big band, experimental kind of big band leader. Stan Kenton plays Bob Greatinger's City of Glass. Interesting stuff. I actually have this on vinyl. Somewhere between jazz and classical music, sort of avant-garde classical music. Interesting stuff. Whoa! Oh! About to lose the pile here. This is the problem when you get too many records and CDs in your room. You got nowhere to stack things up. Things get a little crazy. All right. Next up on the Steeplechase label. Let me grab a sip here. Good stuff. Steeplechase label. Jackie McLean and the Cosmic Brotherhood, New York Calling. And again, originally $1, so 50 cents. Can't beat those prices. Another one by Jackie, A Long Drink of the Blues, an original jazz classics reissue. Looks like originally on Prestige. It's your basic original jazz classics design here. So originally $1, half off, 50 cents. The Modern Jazz Quartet at Music Inn with guest artist Sonny Rollins. This was on Atlantic. I've actually got another record, I guess it's the Modern Jazz Quartet at Music Inn with Jimmy Giuffre, I think. Lee Morgan, the final session, the last session on Blue Note. About halfway through here, Delightfully, Lee Morgan on Blue Note. This was really cool. Really excited to find this. Neat little 3 CD set here from Blue Note. This is Lee Morgan at the Lighthouse, live at the Lighthouse. A 3 CD set featuring nearly 2 hours of new material. So recorded live at the Lighthouse, famous nightclub in Hermosa Beach, California. So neat. It's kind of neat. The CDs are all in these little sort of, kind of what you normally see CD singles in, these little slimline CD cases. So that was cool, getting a complete set of that. Andre Previn, the Andre Previn Trio, Lake Previn, from Contemporary Records. Another original jazz classics reissue here. Emily Remler, interesting guitarist. Unfortunately had a problem with drugs. I think died from a heroin overdose, something like that. I'd seen a couple of her records like maybe a year and a half ago at the Friends of the Library sale, and I didn't recognize her name. Left them behind, did some research that night and read up on her. She was kind of a big fan of Wes Montgomery, played in his style, sort of. So when I went back the next day to pick them up, somebody had already snagged them. So I was happy to find this CD, and I think the next day I found another one of her CDs. And this one on the Concord Jazz label. So for $1, half price, 50 cents. Interesting reissue here by Dusty Groove. Dusty Groove Essential reissue. I think Dusty Groove is a record store, but they also have a label apparently in conjunction with Universal Music where they reissue stuff. This one on the Argo Jazz label, the Gene Shaw Quintet Breakthrough. That's kind of neat for $1. There's a Dusty Groove logo. Don't recognize the players on this one. Definitely some obscure jazz there, even for Argo. Woody Shaw, Stepping Stones on Columbia, live at the Village Vanguard. Like I said, apparently who donated all these was a Woody Shaw fan. Picked up several Woody Shaw CDs from the same collection here. Woody Shaw Live Volume 1 on the High Note Records label. Let's see, here's the High Note logo. I don't know if you can make that out. But I'm guessing, let's see, edited and mastered by Malcolm Addy. A lot of these, I don't know a lot, but I've seen some High Note recordings that were recorded, engineered by Rudy Van Gelder. High quality recordings, good label. If you see anything on High Note, it's probably worth picking up. Same thing, this is Volume 2, Woody Shaw Live. So these are originally $3, so we got them for $1.50 a piece. Horace Silver, doing the thing. Horace Silver Quintet at the Village Gate. I do actually have this one on vinyl in pretty good shape. But cool to have it on CD. This on Concord Jazz, the Concord Jazz label, and this is a West German reissue of or West German issue of a Concord recording, recorded in '87. So I think it would have been just the German counterpart, German pressing or issue of this. Neil Swanson Quintet, I'm sorry. Featuring Jerry Fuller on drums, Joe Henderson on sax, Woody Shaw on trumpet, Gary Williamson on piano. You see some of the logos there. Kind of interesting. So this one imported from Germany. Next up, Art Taylor, AT's Delight. Another of the Van Gelder Remaster series from Blue Note. There were a lot of the Van Gelder remaster CDs in the collection. I'm thinking whoever collected these picked up a whole bunch in that sort of mid to late 90s, early 2000s period when they were putting out all the Rudy Van Gelder remasters. So that kind of gave me an idea of when this person collected a lot of stuff here. This one really cool on the Black Jazz label. Chester Thompson Powerhouse. You see the Black Jazz logo there. So originally priced $1, got it for 50 cents. My first, I think my first recording on the Black Jazz label I own in the collection. On Capitol Records, Lenny Tristano and Warren Marsh, Intuition. Just some classic jazz here. This is from it's like 1956, and there's another recording on here, I believe. Can't quite make it out without my glasses, but I think there's 2 LPs on this set here. Alright, let me restack the stack so it doesn't make a mess. Sorry about that. Getting towards the end here, Stanley Turrentine, A Bluish Bag. Another Blue Note Connoisseur CD reissue here. Okay, so Jack Wilson, Something Personal, Jack Wilson. Again, Connoisseur CD series. Here you can kind of see the inside of the Connoisseur CD. Super bit mapping reissue series. This one I couldn't remember if I had on CD. I have a feeling I do because I'm a big fan of Larry Young, great organ player. Larry Young Unity, and again with Woody Shaw on trumpet, Joe Henderson tenor sax, and Elvin Jones on drums. Classic Blue Note recording, classic Blue Note cover design, and Finishing up on the jazz here, the California concert at the Hollywood Palladium on CTI. 2-disc set, originally on 2 LPs, I believe. Nice little trifold digipack reissue here. Very nicely done. I think I'm going to get rid of a lot of the CTI stuff I have on vinyl and just kind of keep the CDs. Be a little more compact. So some of the more obscure sort of jazzy stuff, Kazumi Watanabe, The Spice of Life 2. So kind of jazz meets progressive rock. This one, pretty sure Bill Bruford plays drums on this. Can't tell from the back. Yeah, Bill Bruford on drums and Jeff Berlin on bass. Doesn't say, but I can tell from the photo there. Bill Bruford and Jeff Berlin. On the Gramavision label. Great label, Gramavision. What else? Coleman Hawkins, Roy Eldridge, Pete Brown, Joe Jones All-Stars at Newport. 50th anniversary reissue here from Verve. Pretty interesting. And this one from the Axiom Records label, from the producer Bill Laswell, bass player and producer, musician Bill Laswell. This is one of Tony Williams, the great drummer Tony Williams, one of his very last recordings. Went in the studio with Bill Laswell and did this kind of a sort of return to form, kind of recreating the Lifetime sound, Tony Williams' Lifetime band, early fusion. On this one you've got Nikki Skopolidis on guitar, playing some of the more sort of ethereal guitar work on this, and then Buckethead, sort of an avant metal guitarist, doing some of the more, definitely more aggressive stuff on this. Bayard Lancaster on sax, Graham Haynes on cornet, Pharoah Sanders on sax, Bill Laswell on bass. Powerful, powerful recording on this. I've already got this, 1 or 2 copies of this on CD, but didn't want to pass it up. Originally 50 cents. Picked it up for a quarter. So I'll probably be gifted on to someone else. What's up? Next up, the Lewis Hayes Group. Variety is the Spice from Griffin Records. There's a nice little Japanese mini LP reissue. I don't really know anything about Lewis Hayes, but let's see, looking at some of the credits here. Lewis Hayes on drums, Frank Strozier alto sax and flute, Harold Mayburn piano, Cecil McBee bass, special guest artist Leon Thomas on vocals. Yeah, I'm guessing this is sort of an Afro-Cuban sound jazz, not quite sure. Originally priced $1, got it for 50 cents. Nice little Japanese mini LP reissue. This one on the Pangea label, reissuing a recording originally on the American Clave, I think's how it's pronounced, label. Produced by Kip Hanrahan. Did some really interesting Afro-Cuban avant-garde, sort of downtown New York jazz type stuff in the 80s, early 90s, I think. This is Jerry Gonzalez, Yayome Kure. Produced by Kip Hanrahan. Originally 50 cents. Picked it up for a quarter. Not going to pass it up. Anytime I see the name Kip Hanrahan, I pick it up. Always worth picking up. Very interesting musician, producer. Genesis Abacab. Classic. Definitive edition remaster. They're always definitive until the next one comes out. So originally 50 cents, got it for a quarter. Another kind of obscurity, something called La Clave. Originally put out on Verve in the early 70s, I believe. Sort of Latin funk. This is another Dusty Groove reissue here. So yeah, it's got kind of a Santana meets early Chicago sound to it. A lot of horns and kind of brassy, psychedelic, funky sound here. Really good stuff. I was listening to this in the car a couple days ago on the way to work and back. Neat stuff. Lalo Schifrin, however it's pronounced. Kind of a jazz guy, got into Hollywood soundtracks. Played a hand in producing this. Maybe played some keyboards on it. So very interesting little find here. Originally priced at $1, picked up for 50 cents. I guess the original vinyl on these go for quite a bit. So yeah, the box is empty. That was it for day 2. And then finally day 3. I think I spent about $76 somewhere around there this day, the half price day. And so I had a few bucks left, but everything is 10 cents on the final day. So I think I scrounged up about $7. That would have given me, I could have bought 70 things. Somewhere around 70 things on the last day. So I knew I had plenty of money left over. And that will be the next video, okay? Thanks for watching. I apologize if this ran long. I have a feeling it did. But I'll see you all next time.